Back in 1998, a little action flick came out, received middling reviews, and made only $14.5 million off of its $60 million budget. A story set in the future, one that embraced the one-man army trope, starring a surprisingly strong cast led by Kurt Russell, and directed by the man who gave us Mortal Kombat and Event Horizon. Making things even stranger, it exists in a canonically connected universe to Blade Runner. The truth is, movies are 99% about place and time, and this flick was sadly released in the wrong era. So today I want to explore one of the best and most underrated action films of the late 90s. Today, I want to talk Soldier. There is something so intrinsically human about the one-man army trope, and how we love to see the wrong things put right. And listen, besides some lulls, it's been a popular subgenre ever since. But at its peak, we had Rambo taking out the Viet Cong, Matrix killing Bennett's army, Boudreaux kicking every last one of Lance Henriksen's goons, even Nico going up against a crooked CIA in America's greatest city.
Nico, keep the channel clear, all right? Don't embarrass us.
I love this guy. And in 1998, we got a futuristic take that might have just been a little too late to the game. Soldier tells a story of Sergeant Todd 3465, a soldier trained from birth, among many others, whose sole purpose was to be the government's ultimate weapon. That's until a better and more genetically enhanced model replaces him and his unit. After a training exercise gone wrong, he's dumped on a trash planet where a small community of survivors take him in and show Todd a version of life he never knew existed. When his replacements eventually show up on a routine sweep, Todd defends his new family and proves you can't beat spirit. The thing that's always surprised me about it is that thematically, it has far more heart than it needs to. Yeah, I mean, Soldier's an action movie first and foremost, big explosions, badass fights, all the good stuff. But underneath all of that, it's also a surprisingly thoughtful take on aging, obsolescence, and the human need for belonging. Todd, who's raised from birth to be the ultimate soldier, has a proven and flawless track record. I mean, by the time you meet him, he's a grizzled 40. I mean, that's a rough 40, let's be honest. When a new breed of genetically engineered soldiers are introduced, Todd and his unit are deemed outdated.
Your men are obsolete.
After a matchup with the Uber soldiers, he's discarded like a broken TV, abandoned on a trash-covered planet with no further purpose. And I don't know, maybe it's because I'm getting older, more gray in the beard. But Todd's fading usefulness, it kind of hits a bit harder now. Time waits for no one, and there's always going to be someone faster, stronger, and smarter waiting to take your place. That's the game of life. And of course, Todd isn't necessarily weaker than his bald replacements, but that doesn't matter because the military sees these new soldiers as an upgrade. Out with the old, in with the new. Todd represents a generation who has given everything to their profession, only to be cast aside when they are no longer deemed essential. And that's a hard reality, one we will all have to face one day. There's always going to be an expiration date. We just don't know exactly when. Kurt Russell gives one of his best career performances, and that's with only 104 words of dialogue. There's a reason he's a Hollywood legend, and this foolishly gets overlooked. I mean, he does so much with his eyes, his body language. He conveys a wide range of emotions back to back without saying a word. His first ever hug, a touch from a woman, confusion with this weird emotion we call crying, realizing he's messed up, teaching Nathan to kill snakes. Similar to Murphy and RoboCop, Todd's character arc is about regaining one's humanity, the thing corporations, and here the military, can take away. Of course, the smart script is why Soldier rises above the generic action revenge flick. Written by David Peoples, who gave us Blade Runner, 12 Monkeys, and Unforgiven, this has a great grasp on the world building and characters that populate it. And according to David Peoples, Soldier takes place in the same universe as Blade Runner, saying it's the same world, but this time focusing on the military side rather than through the corporate and cyberpunk aspects. We even get a few in-world Easter eggs like the spinner cars on the trash world and the Tannhauser Gate battle tattooed on Todd's arm.
I watched C-beams glitter in the dark near the Tannhauser Gate. Before we continue with our video, here's a reminder to click the Store tab on any of our JoBlo channels and browse our collection of the latest and freshest designs in our merch store. Go get you some.
Replicants are bioengineered humans, built for labor and slapped with an expiration date. Do your job and politely die. Soldier takes a similar approach but swaps out the synthetic life forms for genetically modified humans. And when Todd and his kind are being replaced, Colonel Meekum literally says,
You see your old ones here, they're selected at birth. And my new ones, we're talking recombination. They're practically manufactured using DNA profiles.
The big thematic link? Well, that's obsolescence. The one thing that awaits us all. And it's a fickle bitch. Just like replicants get replaced with newer models, Todd and his squad are tossed aside the second a slicker and stronger batch of soldiers roll in. Todd's fight for survival after being deemed useless isn't far off from Roy Batty's existential crisis.
Moments will be lost in time.
Now, some love needs to be shown to the supporting cast as they do a lot to convey this dark, futuristic world. Jason Isaacs damn near steals the show with his cold and slimy portrayal of Colonel Meekum. And I believe it was his idea to have that punchable mustache. Well done, Isaacs. Captain Church is empathetically played by a very toned-down Gary Busey, which was pretty against type at this point and era of his career. He plays Church as a man with integrity and a salt-of-the-earth charm, while being the most professional kind of smartass.
Maybe you should have made him smart instead of fast.
Sean Pertwee and Connie Nielsen are solid as always. Michael Chiklis is a small but fun role as Jimmy, while Jason Scott Lee makes for a great villain as Kane 607. He kicked ass as Bruce Lee, became our live-action Mowgli, and is surprisingly intimidating as Kane. Plus, I'll always support an ending action fight scene in the rain via Universal Soldier. Paul Anderson was on a fantastic run in the 90s. Shopping, Mortal Kombat, Event Horizon, and Soldier. Obviously more in tune with the action and sci-fi side of film, Anderson's eye really set Soldier apart from feeling bland like Species 2 or The Avengers from the same year. And besides some aged CG, the sets have personality with the color of the movie changing while the story progresses. He wanted the military stuff to have more symmetrical framing with cool blues and greens, then changed to a sepia-toned look for the garbage planet. In the commentary, he said his intention was he wanted the feeling of an old photograph, like you've gone back in time. We get great shots, interesting transitions, and of course the man knows how to shoot action. Todd showing his worth against his replacements is the type of comeuppance I live to see. And of course he had enough smarts to give Kurt Russell's work a bit of a nod, as Todd's awards for military excellence are all past characters.
You want a beer, you get your own beer.
Soldier should have and most likely would have been a hit if it came out closer to when it was actually written, that being 1984. But by 98, these were dead on arrival. Tastes had sadly shifted. But this many years later, it's sad to say this gets overlooked, or worse, forgotten in the action genre. So I'm here to set the record straight. This movie rocks. Kurt Russell delivers a stoic, badass performance. The themes still hit hard today, and it's just pure, unfiltered adrenaline. Guns, blood, explosions, and of course, one of my favorite calls to action ever.
What are you gonna do?
I'm going to kill them all, sir.
Seems like the world is moving on. Didn't stop to look around. Didn't give a shit if you're crashing down. You can close your eyes but not your skin. Don't believe what you refuse to see.
Thank you for clicking on our video, everybody. If you like what you saw here, please make sure you like the video and subscribe and share with your friends who like this sort of content. JoBlo was created by movie fans for movie fans, and we appreciate your support.